about the time I said, it's sometimes it's squeezed, sometimes it's expanded. So also the space sometimes expands, sometimes squeezes with the will of God. Now, there is a hadith again relating to the same thing, of people of Jahannam, Ahlun Nar, those on earth who commit so many crimes that it seems impossible for God, look by the people, that He would ever forgive them. So, one such criminal is described, a sinful person, by Hadhrat Muhammad Rasulullah Sallam, that he had committed all possible sins which are mentioned in Sharia. The list was exhausted. And then, late in his age, suddenly he thought, why not do something for forgiveness? Otherwise, when I die, there'll be nothing. So he went to great scholars and apparently godly people he had heard of. From city to city, he heard of people. He's a great wise man, very saintly person. He would tell you what to do. So when he went there and made his confession and told him what sins, they said, impossible. You will not be forgiven. He said, all right, if that is the state, why not murder you? Another one added. So he did away with that. And another town, went to another town, to another holy man. And the same was the response of that holy man. He said, all right, why not another sin? When I have passed the point of redemption, when there is no question of my being forgiven, let another small crime be added. So he murdered him. According to this hadith, he did it 99 times. Every time the answer was no. And he said, all right, you go with the people who've gone before you. Then one really saintly man came, the last one, who understood Rahma. He told him, look here, the only answer for you lies in hijrah. You do hijrah from the city of sin to the city of goodness. Now this means a metaphorical hijrah. But in the hadith it is shown as if a city of good people was there and a city of bad people was there, to leave the bad people and go to the people of the good of righteousness. So of course then he didn't kill him and started making hijrah from his place of dwelling to the place where ultimately he was to find good people. It so happened, according to this tradition, that death came upon him before he had covered even halfway. That made him extremely worried for himself. So while he was losing his strength rapidly, he started crawling, on his knees and on his elbows and trying to inch his way in towards that city. But he could not, and he died. The angels of Allah inquired from Allah, requested to guide them as to how should he be counted, among whom. He had left the city of sin, had not yet reached the city of goodness. Where shall he be counted? Among whom will he be counted? Now the answer was a simple, honest formula. A simple formula is that you measure the distance between the city of evil and the person, and the spot where this person died. And then measure the distance from that spot to the city of goodness. Whichever is shorter, count him among those people. See? So when they started measuring, God started enlarging the space between him and the city of evil. And the measures became, as if the miles became 100 miles each mile, and they became lengthened. And it took them so long, the angels, to finish that measure, because the earth continued to extend itself. And when they reached the other side, it got squeezed. In a matter of a few attempts, the measure was over. So they report, I said, it's okay, you know that. You know the answer. Now this is Allah's mercy. This is how He finds excuses to forgive His people, his servants. And how could this God create an everlasting hell? So the time there would also be squeezed, I'm sure. Right? Ahmad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself answered this question by indicating that if you look at the mercy of God, it would appear that nobody would ever be sent to hell. But when you look at His grandeur and His might and His majesty, and when one looks on one's sins, then it appears as if none is worthy of forgiveness. So the decision lies between the two extremes, fi awsat, and it depends on the will of Allah entirely. But we know from the Holy Quran, the will is clearly expressed that there will be so many people who will be so unfortunate that even from the hands of such extremely merciful being as God is, they would still not be able to earn the heaven. There are such unfortunate people. So it doesn't encourage you to climb. It encourages you to take steps before you die in the right direction so that you meet you get the canopy of Allah's mercy. So this is how the Quran leaves the message. No reader of the Quran is encouraged to climb. No reader of the Quran loses hope in Allah's mercy. So this is the most beautiful balance between these two things which we find in the Holy Quran, and that is one of the signs of its perfection.